right. Oh, and look who walked in.
5:45.
We're gonna 5:4. All right, we're gonna call our meeting to order. Any citizens input?
I do, but you want to do them? Are they good?
Yeah, I'm gonna include them, but go ahead.
Let's get that done.
Yeah, sounds good. Geez, you think you just won an election?
You know if they're on agenda or sensitive, so you have to have.
They're on my agenda.
Perfect.
I asked Jeff to bring in his entire team, and just those that were brave enough to attend showed up. But in recognition of their excellent season again this year, it's been several in a row where they have really set the mark in the state of South Dakota for high school girls golf, finishing second as a team, first as an individual, and third. Pretty, yep. So I asked them to come, be recognized by the board tonight, and show our appreciation for all the work that they put in. So Jeff, you want to introduce your leaders on your team?
Do I need to come up there?
Yes, you do.
He's the first, yeah, correct me, first girl champion we've had.
Come on up, girls.
Correct. So I'm Jeff Meyerink. I know most of you in here pretty well. So I didn't get a whole lot of time to prepare material today, but obviously Maddie Childs, Allison Meyerink, the rest of the team couldn't make it today with other engagements and family matters they had to take care of. But these two were able to be here, and I couldn't pick two better girls because they're great leaders, they're good role models, and they're willing to help everybody along the way. Sixth graders come out there, they're working on something, they know I'm busy, they'll step over, help them out. So with that being said, just to highlight the season that we kind of had, there's only a couple tournaments we lost. We lost the first one, one in the middle there somewhere, and then the last one. But you look at what these girls have been able to accomplish these last 4 years. They got 3 team runner-ups and 1 state title, Mitchell's first state title in golf. It's pretty incredible if you go back and think about it. I've coached both of these girls officially since Allison was a freshman, Maddie was a 7th grader, and nobody works harder than they do. I'll tell you that. They're out there all the time. They're in the, sim rooms, hitting balls in the middle of winter. They're out, where I pushed off some snow last year and the wind chill's in the teens, I think, and they're out there hitting balls. No complaints. They said they'd rather do that than hit off mats inside the school. So, start with Maddie here. She had a great season as a sophomore in contention. Pretty much every single tournament. Really impressive for a sophomore to be able to do those kinds of things. And what kind of capitalized her season was winning the individual ESD this year, which was awesome to see with a score of a 74 at Fox Run. And those greens can be tough, and then she was T1 at the Mitchell Invite, but incredible talented couple individuals. Allison, I've been around her for quite a while. Not officially coaching her in 7th and 8th grade, but still there, kind of pushing her to become her best, and she's embraced every part of it throughout the journey. And she's really tough. She's been in the mix. Again, like just kind of what Maddie's doing when she was a sophomore. Same scenario, same situation. Just continue to get better, continue to grow, and always been a great person, great role model for all the other girls. So, she was the first one to win a state title this year for Mitchell girls. There was 2 boys that did it back in the day, but I'm telling you, I played there at Hillcrest here the last couple days, and I don't know how they shot what they did. It was hard. It was hard. Like, I couldn't get it out of the rough to save my life, and they're doing it no problem. Pretty impressive. So with that, I mean, I'm awfully proud of Allison being able to come and win the state title after losing last year in a playoff. And she was in contention her sophomore year up until like hole 11, I think you were tied for the lead. So Maddie's right on that same track. So I look forward to what's going to happen these next few years. Awfully proud of both of them and the rest of the team. But why don't you girls step up and say a couple words?
Well, thank you guys for having us here and getting recognized, and we thank you for all your support throughout many years of our golf, or my golf, and this year especially. But thank you, Jason, for always checking in with us and seeing how things are out on the course. Thanks, Eric, for letting me come to work a little late when our coach is a little mean.
Fair enough.
Thanks for all the support. I mean, we wouldn't be where we are without you guys. Thanks, Joel, for bringing future Colonel golfers to the state tournament to watch and experience it. And everyone else, thank you. I mean, we wouldn't have done it without you guys.
Very good.
I just want to say thank you for allowing us to be here and getting recognized. And thank you, Jason, for always checking in. Like, you always keep the course in good shape, so we really appreciate it. And thanks, Eric, for letting us practice, because not many schools get that opportunity. And thanks, Joel, for bringing Emma and Kate up. I know they really look up to us, so it was fun to see them there. And just thank you again for all of your support. I'm ready for next year.
Good job.
Yeah, like on that note, like Jason, like we're not here without him. Promise you that. So, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. Coach did a pretty good job, too. Somebody had to drive the bus.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Take one, pass them on, go halfway, let me see. Somebody get the flag. Put the, so pitchers to the top, and that is Levin T-Box and Scott Humber. So I'll give you a little history on Scott. One thing, Jason, I don't know if you ever have it, but they drew up a contract with Scott. I knew down the road somewhere it'd be a stickler, so I kept one. I found it the other day, was going through stuff. But you never even heard of it.
I knew there was something out there. I've never seen it.
Scott would keep it or know where it's at, so, anyway, I got the contract. When Scott came in, I'm pretty sure the left side of the pond, he dug his man-made. And the rest comes out of our culvert under 11 when you go down to T, and it goes into the lake. Scott dug that so we could have, and then he paid for it with his own money. I bet he's got 40 to 50,000 stuck into it with waterfall. And when the waterfall goes in, and it circles. So it circulates. So he paid that out of his own money, and then the first one was 37, I'm totally guessing, 37.5 or something. And I was there when he built it. And then he brought a guy back to do landscaping and all this. And then what the city does is keeps up the pump. And pays for electricity, which is, Jason, I'll tell you what that is, I don't know. But it's not cheap. So Scott came years ago, and you can see where his line is there. Now if you have Onyx on your phone, you can walk out, step right on that line, And so the row of trees there, this is a current picture. The one I have, not, still got the trees in it. So Scott's been taking a few trees down. He cleaned up all that rubbish. This rubbish looked just like before he started, it looked just like where, help me out here.
Tuppers.
Tuppers. Tupper went with the natural look, that Black Hills look, and left it. Because the city property, that's what they bought where that lane is. So my thing, what I'd like to do, and get your opinion, is I've talked to Scott, talked to him 2 years ago, 1 year ago, this year, and finally getting around to doing it, is like putting OB stakes. Everybody hates OBs. Give them a little leeway, whatever you guys think, if you want to go this way. like 10 feet, keep them on there, that way somebody drives around the stakes. He mows it, he cleaned the rubbish, he mows it, he planted trees, just like his own lawn. Actually, he mows it in the angle with his lawn. So, step up pretty good. Now, I don't know, Jason, help me out here, the west end, maybe he let go, actually probably 75 yards maybe? Maybe not that far.
From behind the tee box?
From the west, from Tupper's land to where he let some of the rubbish get
Yeah.
home.
Yeah,
He's got gardens in there, he's got everything. But me personally, slow play, you're walking, you hit a 3-wood, catches the side of the car, runs downhill till we. Now, if you're gonna turn it, you gotta walk back, re-tee it up. And, I mean, you kick it out play if you're not determined. But, slows up play, looks good. He's been keeping up our craft on his own to make it do what he wants to do, done right. He's planted trees on his own, to my knowledge. And, I think Tupper's, that's a whole different ballgame. I mean, nobody likes to drive one over either. But boy, that'd be a lot of work to clean that up, just like what he did here. But we could go from his property line, angle it over and over. We would probably gain, I don't know, how much do you think we'd gain? 75 feet?
from where the OB line is to where the property line is just on his, probably 50 to 75 feet.
Yeah, somewhere around here. But it would take all the roll from that side hill on your second shot. It'll draw, boom, you're OB shit. I think it'd be a great improvement. And actually, you can see that 100% of the waterfalls on our property and a hair of this lake. I don't know if you call it lake pond. I think it'd be a huge improvement from me speaking, from a mid to bad golfer. I hate OBs. Two things I hate: looking for a golf ball and OBs. And pretty much, I mean, I talked to Jeff, I talked to Jason a couple times, and I just kind of forget to bring it up and get going. I think it'd make our course nicer. And like I said, Scott, you said, well, it's your property, Dan. And, you know, that you do what you want. That was last year, maybe the year before. And then I was looking at what he was doing the other day. And a lot of that row of trees we call Chinese elm. He's got them thinned out really good. There's some stumps there, but he's got some new ones. I'm going to guess they're 2-inch trunks.
Yeah, 2 or smaller, some are.
So he's planted some trees a couple years ago. Jason and Eric can speak. You know, I just hate OBs. You could put one up at the 11 tee box on the side, like we did that shootout, that's in play. But if you're 20 yards short of that, you're OB. Because, you know, right now, it goes up, stays at our land, and it goes over, you know. Anyway, thoughts, I know Jeff was speaking from a good golfer standpoint, you know, the challenge making a whole little tougher.
Where does this fall on the agenda?
Excuse me,
I said, what we're discussing, where does this fall on the agenda?
Citizens input.
citizen input, discussion. And then you ain't got a 3-minute clock, so I felt pretty safe with myself. So citizen input is really discussion, or me talking, so if you want to move on, I have no problem with that.
So how far are you proposing to go from the out of bounds now?
I told Scott, would 10 feet be okay? You can put it right on it, and I know it's connected on it. If you put it right on it, then people feel always right to hurt out.
So would you go all the way to this property line, is that what you're saying?
I would say 10 feet south.
From
would
south.
be fair.
Okay.
You know, you're talking rough mower, I don't know, 15 minutes. That's what's how big a rough mower.
That's, it's not a big deal, but, I mean, they're trying to minimize time on stuff. If that's something that you guys want to do, I mean, we'll do it. Scott brought that up to me also about a year or so ago, and my main thing with how you cut it off, where Tupper starts. I mean,
It's
you
just gonna
jet,
be a 45.
yeah. Yeah, so,
To me, the proper thing to do right now is if, you know, if we don't see, we're doing improvements, you know, are we gonna do the pond? down there? Are we gonna do clean up Tuppers? That's all our land. I'm assuming our land, I think, check that, it starts at, going in at Tuppers, or does it go all the way back? I didn't check that.
I think there's a chunk all the way along, all the way to the Bowling Green. But I guess the main thing with that area down there, if it's not watered and you start driving on it and mowing it on a weekly basis, it's pretty gravelly down through there, so, yep. So that's just something to think about, so.
Well, I would think you could even move the out of bounds 15 feet from where it is right now and probably have enough room
That's
to
it.
catch everything.
But if it's our land, we're gonna mow it, we
Right.
should be mowing it. Should we, why mow land that's OB? What's the negative?
I agree with that point, if it's gonna be mowed, yeah.
I mean, I don't see it, I mean, we should be sending Scott a thank you note for what he's done there. That's all his labor, all his seed, he did everything, he cleaned that rubbish out. And it looks perfect. I drive by there, now you don't have no privacy, but I look at it and say, wow, where Tuppers is kind of getting.
Is it on cities or is that?
Half is the city's, half is Scott's. Where the peninsula comes out, that essentially cuts it in half.
What's your guys' thoughts? I can't think of any negative. Well, if it's a negative, make it, of course, make it easier. Make all that a positive.
Yeah, not a negative. It's just gonna be more work for Jason's crew.
A little bit, but it's our land.
Right, oh yeah.
And so is it work we should, you know, I mean, he cleaned out our land. I mean, no different than, you know, for 20 years, well, not 20, 18 years, we've been talking about cleaning up that pond, taking all the rubbish, leaving some trees, and, you know, rip wrapping it, filling it, and putting a water pump. When you're adding expense and the thing, that'd be pretty.
Well, if you want board approval to do that, we need to put it on our agenda item for next
I don't know
month.
why we need board approval.
That's why I'm throwing that out there is, if not, then have the discussion and
You know,
Jason can do it. We just can't take any formal action on it, just discussion only.
Discussions, we're moving it out far in.
Right.
Moving it from where it's at now, if we're gonna keep it 10 feet from Scott's property line, if it's going 10 feet this way, or if it's going 10 feet from where it currently is.
Well, it would make more sense to put it up 10 feet from his property line and include that in his work.
So how far off his property line is it now?
I'm gonna guess that.
50 to 75 feet, I don't know exactly, but
Well, I mean, my ball only goes 2 feet OB when I hit it there, so 5 feet for all I care, right? I mean, it's literally right on the other side of the line every time I do
Right.
it, so.
But I think the question is, if you do it, then we're maintaining it.
Right.
So are we gonna maintain a bunch of area that isn't part of the course, or are we just gonna include it?
How much you really should know?
about to where the current OB line, about 15 feet over where the current OB line is. There's 2 sprinkler heads right down in here.
15 feet over golf course side or Howman side?
Oh, it doesn't go anywhere near home.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it goes 15 feet or so over where the current OB is, which would still be our property. It might be more than that. I guess I'm usually not down there when they're running, so. And I've never really walked it off, so.
Do you have a preference?
I guess if you guys want me to maintain it, I'll maintain it.
That's not what I asked. It's a good political answer.
Um, I'm just adding some time on chemical and everything, and I agree, Scott's done a lot for it. Has kept it cleaned up. I agree that probably only about 10 feet is probably going to catch most of it, but like you said, if it's going to be that you want to maintain it, you might as well go, I'd go 10 feet short just to have that little bit of buffer. But I'm kind of indifferent on it. If you want me to spend more time on it, I will, but if, it doesn't matter to me.
Anybody else have any thoughts?
I think we should discuss it, bring it back at another meeting. Let's talk to different people, find out what the general consensus is around.
Sounds good.
You
What?
know, if your concern is that you hit that and you go under the rough, which a lot of us do against that slope, maybe we let the grass grow over. I don't know what
Yeah.
the situation is, but I know exactly what Joel was saying, you end up, you're only about a foot into that.
Yep.
So, my personal feeling is discuss it, we can see what Jason really thinks, and see what the other people around the course think.
And it's already, Scott's already been mowing it, so it's not like it's, if,
Pretty plush grass, next time you go out, Scott did it right, and don't rain we have.
Oh, yeah. So is that irrigated then too, from him?
no. His goes up to his property line, maybe, it probably shoots a little over. I have two heads up on the left side of the cart path that hits part of it. If you wanted to keep it a little bit better, you probably should put a couple more in, but it's, those sprinkler heads are up to $400 a head, and your pipe is not cheap and all that, so.
Well, if there's gravel in there, which there is, then maybe the best thing to do is to strip the sod off and make it a waste area. And make it penalized as a waste area instead, then you got no maintenance, no.
I was just gonna say, like, maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, but why do we have to maintain it? Like, why can't we move the stakes and just have it be, like you say, like a waste area? I mean, hell, we've got a waste area between 11 and 8.
That was my other point. Two things I don't like personally.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna guess if we don't mow it, Scott's gonna continue to mow it. I don't know.
Mosquitoes and everything else.
So,
Well, talk amongst your groups and we'll bring it back at the July meeting.
You guys can have the,
As discussion or action.
Oh. Well, we'll make sure it's an action so we can take action on it. Any other citizens' input? Any? He's on.
he's on the agenda.
Can I move him up? Can I just, yeah. Let's do you, Dean. You don't need to sit through all the rest of this. Oh, well, you might.
I think everybody here knows who I am. My name's Dean Strand, and tonight I'm here as a board member of the Legion Cemetery, the Servicemen's Cemetery in Kippis Park. I was here last year and we talked about a bathroom. We still need a bathroom. There's a lot going on out there. The Friday before Memorial Day, and I realize that's a busy time of the year, but we built that shelter down in the north end of Kippis Park, And the Friday, we didn't get a bathroom in there, so the Schoenfelders have donated a little pink porta potty. And the Friday before Memorial Day, I was out there and I seen 3 cars and 5 people waiting to get into that porta potty, and I said, we still need a bathroom. So I'm here tonight to ask what your feelings are on it, and if you agree that we need a bathroom, give me a little input on what you want, and I'll get some plans together and come back next month with a price and plans for you to approve. So I'm here tonight just to ask what your feelings are on it. There's a lot of traffic out there, the community gardens, people from across the street walking every day at 10 and 3, the bike trails out there, exercise, and you'd be surprised how many people come out to meditate with their loved one that's buried out there. So I'm here to ask for your input.
Didn't the last time we talked about the sewer issue and the water issue, and the price was somewhere between 70 to 100,000?
I think we requested 70.
63 was a very deluxe one.
Okay.
It was a unisex. There was a sink, a stool, a partition, and a stool, and a baby diaper changing area. We also had a hot water heater that when the water flowed, it would heat the water, and a slop sink, and a little room for supplies and whatnot. Electric hand dryer, so we don't have the mess of towels and everything. It was quite a deluxe, colored cement floor and everything. But that was last year, and I'm sure prices have gone up a little bit since then.
Can we talk about doing that, when you guys put that new shed too? We used to make temporary markers.
Yep, so, if it's gonna be on the city property, where it would best be placed would be, where those parking spots are, to the south of where that new building is. Further to the left. Right there. And now there's a grassy spot there. We'd have to take out one tree. There's that blue line is a water line, so we would have that. We would have to do a septic tank. Not enough room for a drain field, so it'd have to just be a septic tank.
It's just not sewer line that runs out, but
That's water. There is sewer and water over by the shelter. But with the city being involved and that being county property, it's not felt like that would probably work.
Would the county give us that little piece of property?
That property does actually, was donated in 1972 to the Servicemen Cemetery with stipulation on it that there would never be any grave sites put on that property, and it would always be a public park area for everyone to use.
So we're currently mowing that now.
Yep. The Servicemen's Cemetery is paying us a maintenance fee for it.
So would you be opposed if they just gave us a little piece and we could now put a bathroom there? If there's water and sewer right there?
I'm going to stay out of that. I'm going to leave that to city administration.
Okay.
So I'm going to stay out of that, so.
I mean, I'm thinking it'd be cheaper to put it there than any place.
Yeah,
Because you have sewer and water right there.
yeah. I don't totally disagree with that, but there again, being county land and city, so I can't disagree, but I guess I'm not going to say that they should.
Interesting, it's county land, but yet we're
Yeah.
maintaining.
Yep. Well, the Servicemen's is, the Legion is not our property, Calvary Cemetery is not ours, and we maintain all of it, so. But as right now, they pay us so much an acre to maintain it. I mean, that's not a large amount, but it's something. so.
Where's the sewer running on your property?
I'm not sure. I heard it goes to the south or to the west, but I'm not positive. Yep. But, so the tree or the blue line between where the current shelter is and the housing, there is a sewer and a water line, 4-inch water line that runs right through there, so.
But to me, that's just a good community benefit by having it there. It's,
I'm concerned about a septic. Somebody could turn the water on, not that anybody would ever do something like that, leave them on all night. But if they bust toilets and bust sinks and,
but if you're that close to a sewer line, go through the red tape to get it done. I mean, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Maybe the county wants to chip some money in on this deal.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, beyond that, we've been discussing with Dean on kind of what should or shouldn't be in it, and that it's got to kind of match everything else and the other buildings and everything, so probably going to look to see if we would want to do like poured walls to be somewhat of a, not a real big storm shelter, but at least somewhere for somebody to duck in there. Because like right now, there's nothing anywhere in the area. My maintenance shop, it's better than being outside, but not by much, so.
There's another benefit, storm shelter.
Yeah.
well, if you're trying to make it an official storm shelter with a concrete roof,
Yeah, I don't think you'd go that far, but,
a door.
Well, when it's crappy outside, you don't care, as long as it's better than standing
We
outside.
weren't talking not necessarily tornadoes, just someplace to get out of the rain.
Right.
yeah.
Dean, you don't care if it's right next to the shelter or not, do you? I mean,
Actually,
you want it to be close, but.
that would be my wishes, but my board don't want the liability of it being right next to the shelter, to be real honest with you.
It is odd to have a shelter and then walk 150 yards to go to a restroom. But then the gardeners will appreciate it being close by to the garden. And there's probably far more of those in a week visiting the garden than what there is people at a shelter in a week.
That's true.
Well, and then the bike trail activity going by there.
When you get great
Well-
stuff, that people need to use the restroom too.
So, I mean, there is a porta potty by the garden right now, there is one by the shelter. Being up over there would benefit the garden, but, so down the road, when the bike path gets moved, the bike path will actually come right by the shelter too, so it won't be coming between the garden and servicemen, so.
I guess some of my questions are, do you think we can get by if you agree that we need to put a bathroom in the cemetery? Can we get by with a unisex one, or do we have to have a his and hers? And just what would be your wishes? And I can get a plan put together.
I think unisex would be just fine for.
I think so.
Agree.
I think unisex would be fine.
And I'm sure it wouldn't be anything that we'd want to heat over winter time. So probably,
It would get blown out when we blow out the other bathrooms and charge back up when they get charged back up. And
Well, why don't, for our next meeting, why don't you put together a cost estimate of building the structure? And we'll have our folks talk to the city administration and, or anybody with the county to see about what it would take to get the hookups done. As far as red tape goes, and then, because the budget cycle starts the next month, or recommendations or proposals, so we need something put together by our July meeting to submit.
Okay, is it okay then, in my understanding, it's okay that I work with Jason and Aaron and what their wishes are and as far as how the building's designed and what's in it and then get a plan put together. This will be the third time I've done it, and they, like the plumbers and electricians, they're getting a little bit, they're busy, they don't want to take time to give me quotes. I'm being honest.
Any thoughts?
No, I think you should work with those guys, figure out what they want.
How long would you have this open? Do you close it at night?
Actually, there's not supposed to be anybody in the cemetery after 10 PM.
I heard about that when I was a kid, we were working 3 o'clock, midnight.
If we put it up there by the parking area south of the office, there is a surveillance camera there. If somebody does do something, we got a little chance of knowing who it is.
We'll put together a cost for a unisex bathroom that would be conducive out there, work with them, and then we'll direct them to work on the red tape of getting the rest of it done.
Okay, I do
I'll
have,
get together at the end, and we'll,
I do have this board's approval in that they think that a bathroom in the cemetery should be a upfront item.
I think so.
Thank you. I'll be here next month.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dean.
Thank you, Dean.
All right. Back up to any delegations. Need approval of minutes from our last meeting. Joe?
Second.
Second with Joel. Joel. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Financial reports.
Yep, it's for the cemetery. As you can see, we're about $12,000 ahead of last year, revenue-wise. Well, on this one, it's only 11,000. Sorry, the report I ran earlier today was 12, so there's a little discrepancy. Doing well. Cemetery openings are up a fair amount. Lot sales are decent. Saturday funerals are up quite a bit. Otherwise, we're pretty status quo on the rest of them. So we shouldn't have too much trouble if things keep going, meeting our budget revenue. As far as expenses, everything's kind of tracking in line. Salaries are up a little bit, but that's more because of salary increases and all that. Insurance costs are up. As far as expenses, everything's kind of tracking in line for expenses. We did purchase a mini excavator, so that's in there. We had to add a counterweight to that. We actually got that installed today. So that's not in here yet, but
Those dollars came outside of what the approved budget was,
yeah.
supplemental.
Does anybody have any questions on anything there? No?
Nope.
Okay. Cemetery bills. I haven't even looked at this yet. I don't think there is anything in there. There there again, the 45,000 for the mini excavator, 2,500 for some chemicals. That's really about it. Any questions on that?
Or chemical costs running this year in comparison to last?
Chemicals, not too bad. Actually, fertilizer has been down just a little bit. So we're kind of right in there. We did have some stuff that we are, a couple costs are a little more, just simply because we didn't have the inventory that we did the year before, so. Still have some things to purchase to get through the year, so. But overall, I shouldn't say, there are some chemicals that have gone up, but overall, they've held pretty steady, so. Okay. Anything on the cemetery? Golf course, I'll go down. On the revenue, we're doing fairly well. We are about 68,000 ahead of last year, revenue-wise, so it's doing pretty well. Eric will talk a little more about kind of reasoning for that and everything, so what we've been seeing. 2 items were already over our budgeted revenue amounts. I'm going to guess by next month we're going to see even more of that. As far as expenses, there again, we're up in salaries a little bit. Part-time is a fair amount above last year. Been monitoring that. Few areas were up from last year, Eric's contract, but that's more or less because of how busy we've been. Supplies and materials we're a little ahead of last year. Couple items were below last year, but still got things to spend on. But otherwise, anything on the golf course financials?
Looks pretty good. Encouraging.
And get to the bills.
Saw on the bills, you had the ice machine. Is that thing on its last legs or what?
That's his.
2 of the has been 2 bills. I'm assuming this one is for the one in my shop.
That's yours.
Yep. So we got that up and running, just figuring that either I was going to see if it could get up and running or I was going to get rid of it because it was just taking up space. So he was able to get it up and running fairly easily. So, and I've run a couple of things of ice through it for different stuff. So,
Because are you having problems with yours?
I'd say the last 2 years we've had, I think, maintenance on it, but it wasn't like a big part to it that needed to be fixed or anything. Coils were freezing up for some reason.
yep. It was a couple $100 bill each time. I don't remember the exact number, but another part of me having mine up and running is if he knows he's got a big event coming, I can make some for it. So.
Yeah, 'cause there was probably 2 or 3 times last year that I had to go just get ice because we didn't have enough ice. Because Jason's machine's a whole lot bigger than the one at the clubhouse. But that ice machine's been there, well, that ice machine,
Oh.
even the one at the clubhouse has been there, I think, before my time, so.
The one he has, the capacity isn't, oh, you know that.
Well, and that's why I was wondering. I just didn't know if the ice machine's been nickel and diming us to the point where do Do we just?
No, I'd say a couple $100 this year, a couple hundred last. So, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not extensive.
It's not like they're taking apart the whole thing and finding the replacement part that they have put into it.
It just always goes down at the worst time possible.
Turbines.
Always. Remember gas, like whatever, right? Exactly.
Otherwise, on the other bills, I've had some bigger expenses on repairing or replacing the reel stock and some reels, some other stuff that has kind of taken up a lot of my supplies budget. Big chunk for fertilizer there. Golf ball washer stuff, or bought a few more ball washers. I'll have a bill for the range balls here next week. So that will take me down to a fair, not much left in my supplies budget for the year. So like I said, I've just had a few things that have just, I kind of knew they were coming, but I wasn't expecting quite so soon. Otherwise, nothing in there. Normal stuff.
Okay, motion to approve the bills for the cemetery and golf course.
So moved. Second.
Terry and Joel. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Bills are approved. Clubhouse report. Eric.
Just going from the financials into the clubhouse report with how much busier we are. Reading that, I mean, weekdays we're getting over 100 golfers about every day now, weather permitting, and we really haven't. I mentioned this to Jason today. We haven't had that nice of a spring or into June yet. I mean, there's been some nice days, but in weekend rounds, that's a whole nother game. When we don't have events, there's just a lot more play out there. I think this last weekend was 250 golfers both days on Saturday and Sunday. And I think even Friday we had 96 golfers, and it rained, and we had to postpone a tournament and stuff. So I mean, we're getting play out there a lot. I've started kids camp started last Monday and Tuesday. I have 57 signed up in the younger kids and 28 in the older kids, which is up from last year. And the play on weekends, I mean, we're taking in a lot more green fees as well. I mean, there's just faces I've never seen that each weekend come out, new faces all the time that are paying green fees. So I mean, it's a good thing for number wise. I mean, there's some that are new golfers that have to learn proper etiquette and they can't play in 6 hours, but it's all good. Overall, it's good for play as long as everything flows good and it shows by the numbers. Memberships, I mean, I'll get to the membership side next, but we're up almost 100 members from the end of last year, and that doesn't include the fun passes that become renewed throughout the summer. So we'll be getting more members as more fun passes get renewed, and there's probably been about 20 to 25 new fun pass memberships just this April, May, and June. So events coming up, and we got events all through June that have to prepare for and stuff. Kids camp goes today. It was today, tomorrow, goes next week. We have an SDGA junior tour event next Monday, a veterans fundraiser on Sunday, Chamber Golf Classic on Friday. So there's just always something going on. And I mean, I'm sure guys that have played more, Tom plays all the time, Jeff a little bit, Mark, I mean, you've noticed a little bit more play out there and a variety of different types of play. Especially, I'd say our evenings, like when I left here tonight from 4:48 until 7:28, it was completely full. on the tee sheet. So I mean, evenings during the week used to be slower. Now they just fill in every evening, especially when it's nice like this. So.
Are they locals? Are we getting
That I don't know.
country club or a lot of people coming in?
I wouldn't say the crowd's country club crowd by any means, but they're just, I think, from all around the area. I mean, each weekend's different people I've never seen, and every weekend's different. There'll be some of the returning public play, but a lot of it's new that I've never seen, and some of it's, I mean, we probably have 30-ish new members throughout the year, but then plus those fun passes that have come in, so. It's a variety, and golf's at its highest right now. I had a guy come in, buy a driver today, and said, I started golfing, I broke my driver, and he said, I never thought I'd get into golf as much as I have right now, and he's only been playing for 2 years. So, people that picked it up are continuing to pick it up.
So you sold them a new driver too?
I did.
$500 driver.
Nope, I sold him a used one, but he said his price range was out of the brand new ones, so I had to find one that was an older demo. Go down now to rounds, membership numbers on the next page. I mean, we did 5,000 rounds, over 5,000 rounds in May. And I don't know if I've ever done 5,000 rounds in a month since I'd have to look back far. I didn't look back far enough, but I think we did 5,766 rounds in May. I mean, that includes tournaments and stuff. We might have broken the 5,000 round thing or played in a month, but not very often. Usually the high 4,000s was a good month for rounds played. And May wasn't all that great weather-wise. But last year we had 25,000 total rounds. We're already up to 10,000 rounds through May right now. Memberships, the one thing when it does pull up, if it does, the one thing, the 318 family memberships compared to the last 2 years, which memberships I consider, all these aren't just memberships, a family of 4, they're considered a member, so 318 is say a family of 4, they're each considered a member, so that's not their numbers. But up from 232 2 years ago, 228 up to 318. The Fun Pass has a lot to do with that. There are a lot of families and new families doing the Fun Pass, but each category is pretty much up in memberships, almost 100 up from last year.
So then when you say 318 family, is that 318 different family packages or
People.
318 people covered under a family?
Correct.
Okay.
So if there's a family of 4, the 318 includes the 4 because
Gotcha.
they're each considered a member.
Gotcha.
Punch cards are going to be on the rise now that we're into June. More people getting punch cards. I didn't even look on the revenue side where we were at budget-wise and where we were at punch card-wise, but I think we're getting pretty close already on the punch card. Punch cards, we budgeted 16,000, we're already at 11,400, so I mean, punch cards prime time is now, because people are kind of done getting memberships, a lot of people go to the punch cards.
Most of the memberships that we'll have coming in yet is the fun passes that we get every month. And the city deductions.
Very impressive.
I haven't played on it enough to know, but I play it once a week with all the extra play. Is it showing the extra play?
Not
course.
too bad yet. We're gonna get pretty warm here this week. I've had some irrigation issues here over the last week. Starting to get that worked out. The heat will definitely make it show. But as far as ball marks, I guess when I was out the other day on a couple of the par threes, I didn't think they were too bad with how much play we've had. I've seen it a lot worse. I guess the main thing is trying to get people to, especially in the golf carts, trying to stay on the tee box or on the cart path around the tee boxes and that kind of stuff, because one person drives up and then the next person, it's not one person that does it. It's when people keep on going in the same spot. That's where you start getting wear. And so if we can kind of train a lot of people to, and with all the new people, it makes it really difficult. But just got to make people understand that, yeah, one golf cart ain't going to make a difference, but when 100 golf carts drive around the green at the same place, it's going to make a difference. So,
That's probably the thing I've noticed the most. The greens seem fine. I expected more ball marks. But the traffic close to the green with the carts, you can look out there at any point in time and see one just a few feet off the green.
Yep.
I understand going around and being on the outside a little bit, but oh my gosh, they're right up on the, almost on the fringe.
Yep. So, and it really made some older guys that, or have some, inability to get around as well. I mean, that's one thing, but some of these younger kids and people that can walk a little bit, that's what gets irritating. And I don't want anybody in those areas, but that gets, so.
That's all I got, unless there's questions.
Are you and your staff able to keep up with everything?
Just busier all the time. I mean, there's always, used to be there'd be some lull time, now it's just constant people coming in. If I don't shut my office door, I won't get anything done. But, no, I mean, it's good. Most everybody coming through is good. Just a matter of keeping up. That is good. I didn't put any numbers together for this meeting for that, but.
Yeah, it's covering our expenses, so, yep.
And I'd say from my staff's standpoint, when we first started it, I missed some, my staff missed some, but now it's been, it's just pretty routine per se now. To ask if they're using cash card, if they're using card. There's been a few disgruntled people, but they know they can pay check or cash and stuff, and they ask why we're doing that and stuff, but nothing major. And it's recouping the cost of the credit card fees as of now.
Anything else?
Nope.
Good job. Superintendent?
Community gardens, we had a request for a sign for donations to Food Shelf in case if somebody has some that they want to, they're not going to use and they want to take it to the Food Shelf. The lady that called me about it, she did the legwork for me and she talked to the Food Shelf and wanted to know what their stipulations were and everything. So I'll probably get something made up for that. There is one whole garden plot that pastor here in town he did it last year and the year before, and all the food off of that plot goes to the Food Shelf. I have told him in the past that he can have it as long as we aren't full. Well, we are totally full this year, so. We also had a request for a dedicated camera just because there's been a few that have thought that they've had produce taken from them. I do have a camera on the shop, but it doesn't always necessarily directed right there. If it's not directed there at the time, it doesn't catch anything, so we'll figure out what we can do there.
How much revenue do we get overall from the garden?
Yeah. So,
But then again, how much revenue do we get from our
yep. I can tell you that most of the people in there, with the exception of a couple people that aren't real good about keeping up on their weeds, everybody seems to be pretty happy with what they're getting at the gardens. So it's more of a service more than anything. It's not a real money maker per se, so. Cemetery, been doing a lot of seeding. The east ditch, that block project we had going in there, that seeding is coming in real well. Everything looked great for Memorial Day. The guys did an amazing job. Had to buy a new counterweight for the mini excavator. We do have a water leak underneath the road between blocks 2 and 1 in Graceland. We're having a hard time finding where it come. We can see where it's coming out of the road, but it's. We'll find it, but we haven't gotten there yet. So in that, we're only running the water, right now we're running it from 8 to noon every day. We might switch that to maybe 10 to 2, so we're trying to avoid having washing out the road and everything, so. For the golf course, working on tree removal for the project. Having electrical issues on the new 9. I got about half of that fixed today. Hopefully I can get the rest of it tomorrow. Working on budget. I'll have more time to work on the water supply. That is in for the lake project, but I'll have time to work on that. We had a pre-con meeting since the last board meeting. That went well. Dunick came down, representative from Norby, Kevin, somebody from our engineering was there. A good conversation. Got some things figured out for Dunick when they come down, so. That's about it.
Was there any conversation with those guys when they came down about possibly putting 2 projects together while they're here, like we talked about last time?
No. Not with Dunick. I've had the conversation with Norby. Didn't feel it was really appropriate to get into Dunick with it at that point in time, so.
Is our bid firm with them? No.
Yeah.
And where's that at? The last time we did that?
670,000. Something, I don't remember the exact
Where
number.
we at from that from financing?
What do you mean?
Spot on.
As far as?
Financing in the project,
Yeah. Yep.
all done deal.
Yep. So I believe 140,000 came out of our cash to balance it. The rest of it come from the
Prices
general.
were already finalized when we did that,
I believe so.
last year budget.
I believe so, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
I didn't know they locked it in year out.
Yep. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
We
they-
have- Refresh my memory, we have no contingency then, gotta come out of our reserves.
Right.
Yep.
Any reserves left since they took it all? That was a joke. All right.
What are we gonna do for water next year? now that the lake went through?
It's a year out.
Yeah, yeah.
It's another year out.
Yep. When I wrote that on here, I was under the understanding they were going to start drawing down this fall. They're talking next fall.
Next fall.
Yeah,
So we got another year of water.
yeah. So, and we're assured that we're going to have water some way, shape, or form. We just don't know how that's going to look. So there's a few different options. It's just a matter of cost and logistics of it and reliability of what those options are, so.
Because now, how long is the lake going to be drawn down to those levels while we dredge? Like, what's the time frame on
Sounds like an engineering question, but it could be up to 2 years.
I just called them on that today, actually. So, once they draw it down, it's 2 years. If it gets done in 2 years, you know.
Right.
I mean, you get huge rain, water keeps running through the lake, and all that can work, but, yeah.
So
But
there will be water on that end of the lake, but it'll be a lot lower. It'll be up to 20 feet lower, so it's just a matter of,
It's deeper where you're pulling it out than a lot of the lake.
yeah. But my intake is only, I think 15 feet, the bottom of my wet well. So my pump is above that, so once the water drops below that, that changes things, so.
Get by one lake.
Well, yeah, so it's, there's,
And we gotta have gravity flow to that well.
yeah,
that's what my whole conversation was about. Is I got a big question mark, you know. Anybody ever asked you how many gallons you want, everybody gets your reports that you send in every fall?
no, but I've talked to Joe and stuff, and Kevin's talked to Joe, and they know kind of what we're dealing with, so I guess when they come up with a proposal, we'll look at it and everything, and,
You know what the secondary water source is? Rural water. We have soccer fields, we have softball, baseball fields, and we have golf course. And you're pumping in the summer, what, 1,200 gallons a minute?
yep.
Take that times 60, times 10. My gallons, 750,000 a night. So that's without, I have no idea what the baseball field and soccer field is. You're talking about water, you know, you're talking that little bit of pond down there, and then how you gonna get it out of there if it's clean? And when you get July, you're gonna get 40 days with no rain. You're looking at that pond, and the bottom's all soupy, and how you gonna get clean water? You can't suck it out of there, because then it sucks in your muck and rocks and floods away your sprinklers. It's a huge question mark, nobody's answered yet. And, this thing on the back, it's good.
Well, let's just pray for rain.
Yeah. Nicely. Quarter inch of rain. Sorry. But yeah, it's a concern. And I haven't heard no answers on that yet.
Well, the one good thing, that your state tournament will be here,
Home baseball.
baseball.
And just to add to that, the mobilization for the Phase 2 will be on July 15th, so the construction company will be able to get on site that day. The interior of the course, hole 11, 12, 13, they will not start on until after the member guest. The other work will be done on the new hole 14 and 15 tee boxes and cart paths and all that stuff, which won't affect play.
That-
2 weeks, or a week after our next meeting, there'll be dirt turning out there.
Yep. Yeah, there will be, so the city tournament will be that weekend of the 13th and 14th, and that Monday they'll start. So, like I said, that area 14, 15, they'll be working on that till after the member guest. And so, So during that first period between the 15th and the 29th, there will be 18 full greens. There will probably be at least one temporary green during that, from the time they start in August till the end of August. And then I think we can make it work so that there will be 18 full greens again. So there will be a month where there will be a little bit, but I think it will be pretty minimal.
Anything else, Jason?
No, not unless there's any other questions.
Okay, let's go to item number 8, approval of a refund.
So this was an individual, Eric sold the membership during his winter sale. It was a gift from mom to the kid. He never used it, and he got a job somewhere else. And we've known about it here for about a month, so it isn't like he just came to us yesterday. So they were requesting a refund of $620. It's just a single membership, so.
So move.
Thanks, Joe. Tom? Any discussion? All in favor of the refund, say aye.
Aye.
Anything opposed, same sign. Write him a check. We've done number 9, so capital requests. Do you want me to lead this, or do you want to do it?
I'll zip through most of it,
Oh, that's right, you got your.
and then I'll let you do that.
Sounds good.
So as far as equipment, I'm asking for a payloader again for the cemetery, little cemetery and golf course. A utility cart to use as a spray cart and just a runaround cart for the cemetery. We've already got the big equipment package approved for the golf course, so that's in there first. And then if everything works out, I'm going to ask for a electric utility vehicle for running around. That way we don't interrupt golfers quite as much when we get into a tournament situation and whatnot. For capital improvements for the cemetery, the bathroom, plans for the cemetery expansion because we are getting tighter and tighter on grave spaces. It's getting harder and harder to find multiple grave sites next to each other for families. We're essentially down to block 4 and 7 with much left. Block 1 also, but that's all flat section. So the plans I would get would at least give us cost estimates so then we know what we're asking for. At this point, we just don't know. I mean, I could ask for a dollar amount, but I don't know. Behind Servicemen's or north of, so I would get kind of cost estimates on both to kind of see what's going to be more feasible, how much it would take to do each. The one north of Calvary, between 14T and Calvary, that one's about 3.5 acres. So you don't have as much area. The one west of Servicemen's, there's 23 acres, I believe there. The one thing about that one is it's a lot flatter, a lot easier to do the landscaping and everything, roads, drainage, everything. We would also be able to kind of partition off a quarter of it or whatever. And as long as we have our plan and we can say, all right, we're going to do this section and this section after that. And, so I guess that getting those plans would help decide that. There's definitely some logistics to the one north of Calvary because of the slope that's there. When we get into one of the other parts, I'll talk about that. We're also going to ask for doing concrete work on the west side of the shop. I've got a couple guys on staff that are pretty comfortable with, they've done a lot of concrete work. So I'm going to ask for essentially the materials for it, and we're going to try to do it ourselves. We'll do it small.
It's just flat work, right? North.
Yeah, flat work. It's essentially my west part of my big building is all just powder, dust and dirt. So we would start on the most interior part of it and get probably 10 feet at a time, and it'll probably be less than $10,000. So just trying to bring some things up to date on the shop and a little at a time, and so that's what that is. As far as the golf course, I'll leave that first item to Jeff. I'll probably I will be asking for cart path, paving the cart paths from phase 2, the back tee boxes on 15, and finishing forward tees, money for that. The entry sign and a few of the tee signs. So when we get all said and done with this project, and we had 1 tee sign stolen off of number 16, I will have 5 new tee signs. So I'm going to ask for money to replace those 5 signs. Haven't really decided. We'll have to decide if we want to try to match up with what we got, or we want to go with something new. And so, but every hole all the way around, the forward tees are going to change. It's still our old logo on those signs, so if we get the new logo on there and whatnot, so that's kind of where that's at. So I'll let.
So we've been talking about this. I talked to Jason at length about this. We've looked into it. We're in phase 2 now. I want to keep, my philosophy is we keep rolling with our phases instead of just waiting and putting things off, because the next phase, phase 3, will kind of tie into what we're doing on phase 2. It seems like a natural progression. It wasn't nearly as expensive as the phase 2 project. Phase 3 is moving the green on 5.
The green would go to the left, so a new green for 5 to the east. 4T would move a little bit to the west, and then there'd be a pond that goes up in between them.
And when we were looking at that, I thought, well, let's, as a board, we don't have any budgetary authority. I mean, really what we do doesn't make a whole lot of difference other than make a recommendation to the council. And because we're going to need funding again for our next phases. There's been a lot of talk about this, and it's on his list there, the short course and the range work. And I said, well, why don't nothing says we have to follow 1 through 8. And if we have the interest in this short course and maybe revamping the range, maybe we can combine these projects because of that interest. So we've been throwing that out to various people about adding a 3-hole short course, which was added in the master plan on the south side of the range, and even extending it out around the corner, bordering on 15 and where that little practice green is out there. And the more I thought about it and talking to people, it just makes sense right now with as many golfers as we have at that place, to provide them an opportunity, especially new golfers and younger golfers and kids, an opportunity to go play and practice without having to go onto the course itself. And so that was my suggestion, is that we combine whatever that amount is. I mean, we looked at the dollar amounts from 2021 when we first proposed it, and we added about 30%. So that's about what the phase 2 was up. And so we're looking at about $1.2 to $1.3 million to do this next combined phase, if that's the direction we want to go. keep in mind, this is just for discussion tonight. We wouldn't take any board recommendation until our next meeting, but I wanted to have the talk about it at least. And I've had a conversation with Kevin, with Jason, and even with Stephanie about this as far as, we're going to come back to the trough again, but this time we're going to be in a little bit different spot. By the end of this year, we should have close to $400,000 in cash in our account. And that's projected where we might even track higher than that, the way things are going. And there was a lot of talk from the council the last time we went through this about having skin in the game. Well, we're in an opportunity to be able to do that. And I've had some people talk about it at least. If we, and this is my suggestion, if we threw in, let's just say for discussion, $200,000 of our cash, and we're able to fundraise, I think up to $500,000 of private donations, whether it be corporate or individuals that want to contribute, and the balance come from the city. I think it would be a good selling point to the council, especially with the number of people we have out there now. It would, especially the range of the short course, it would really provide an opportunity for new people, for a place to go, and eventual recruitment. And so we've got so many people right now, so let's provide them a place where they can play and practice, and eventually, down the road, they're going to become members or play, and I think we're going to plant those seeds, so to speak, in those younger and newer golfers. And it's a big ask. I mean, it's a big thing to do this, but I mean, to me, the best time to do it is when golf is at its peak. And I mean, we're riding this wave, so to me, it makes sense. But just wanted to have a discussion and what your thoughts were. And
So one real quick thing, for phase 3, if we do that pond, a lot of the excess excavation for that would be able to be taken over to that cemetery expansion, so it'd be a kind of dual purpose for that.
Originally, talk about making a big huge mounding behind the 14 greens that block the view.
Yeah,
There'd be enough room.
yeah, I think so.
yeah, that was in that phase.
Yeah,
But wouldn't that dirt come out of that hole or not?
yeah. I'm not saying there would be, enough for that project. I'm saying any excess.
I have no idea. Dirt looks like fluffed up.
Yep.
That was one of the things on phase 3 is making that number 5 and 14 a little bit tougher holes. Instead of just like 5, just a straightaway par 5. There's no risk reward on that hole whatsoever other than in the trees. But by that pond being there, certainly makes it changes the complexity of that par 5.
I've talked to several people, asking them what they think of a short course, whatever. Every single one that I talked to, in favor, strongly in favor of that. We know that'd be great, that'd be great. My question is 3 holes gonna be tough?
Don't know. With the costs that we're looking at, my suggestion would be start with 3. We've got room for more, and if they're successful and they're getting used, build more. 'Cause the other thing you got to take into account is maintenance. I mean, we're creating an area that's going to require, it's not going to be trimmed down like the regular course, and the greens aren't going to be, that perfect, but that's more work and more staffing. I mean, I'd love to have a little 9-hole short course out there, be able to, but you're looking at, I don't know, probably close to $1 million to do another 6 holes.
Yeah, but that would be a guesstimate.
I mean, totally.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. So in the phasing that was there, the original plan was the first phase for the driving range short course was redoing the tee box and targets and 3 holes. And then the very last phase of everything was to do another 8 going on down the old driving range. That was the intent of that. So the numbers that he said, or the range would be just the 3 hole, the driving range tee, and the targets, so.
I don't know how many guys played Brookings Country Club, but the state D was up there, so I was up there 3 times, and they took, 1, 2, 3, between 4 and 5, and then they had brome grass in there. And there's a little triangle out there, and they made a short course 9 hole. And they put 2 greens together, so kind of a little undulation, that one's hitting this way, this one's, I didn't play it, I was just looking at it. There's always an eyesore, I thought, and now it's pretty nice. They just, they had a tournament, people go out and practice. There's 9 holes on it, but it's not a very big area. You play Brookings, you've seen.
I haven't seen that, no.
Okay.
I just
Yeah,
played it
I
last
get
year and
it.
saw it.
What's that?
I played it last year and saw it.
Yeah.
Rabbit Patch, I think they call it.
Yeah, it's the same type deal, and I'm gonna drive out in it when we're done. Get it done. Pretty nice, they said it gets used a lot, especially when they have events.
They got a bunch of tall native grass that they just don't mow that surrounds it, so it keeps your regular golfer like out of it. I mean, it's because it's in kind of a dead spot for the other holes, right? So like you're not really in danger of hitting into it. But if you are, you have this tall native grass, that.
Big area, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's short, and, but I just noticed every green that I looked at was two together.
And when I was out there, SDSU men's golfers were out there playing on it. Like that's who was out there playing on it. I mean, not just hacks trying to get out there and play and practice. Like it was Division I collegiate athletes that were out there playing on it.
Now, I looked on Google Earth, I know Hidden Valley over in Brandon, they're about 33 acres, and they have 18 holes, par 3 course. So, it's giving you an idea on how much you can fit on. Now, we don't have 35 acres, so.
How many acres do we have that you're talking?
Is there 10?
Depends on how you split it out, how much you're gonna take away from the range.
The side of the driving range and then 2 out there. Or you're talking all 3 right there.
3 at the end of the driving range tee is the way it was laid out, and then the other ones are around the corners, south of the nursery green. So,
No, but I meant on these 3, were you talking 1 and 2 or all 3 out there by the old driving range?
just all 3 right by the end of the tee box.
Through on the south end of the driving range now.
What's that?
3 holes on the south end of the driving range right now, where the driving range is now.
That would be from where the putting green is to the south.
No, towards the west, before you even get to the putting green. So we'd carve off X amount of area from the current driving range.
Okay.
I mean, our driving range is,
No, but I mean, for the 3 holes you're talking about.
that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, really?
Yep,
Okay.
against the houses that run east and west,
Sure.
right there.
I thought you were talking old driving range.
No, current. And then with the opportunity to build further, if it is a success.
Last range today.
Well,
We'd try to orient it so you're not hitting right into the houses.
there's actually more of a chance now because you can go clear to the end with a bucket of balls and hit your full shots as it is and have issues, whereas this is, these holes are what?
80 to 110 maybe.
Yeah, at the most.
Yeah.
So you're talking, it's wedge play versus drivers.
So you cut the driving range in half?
No.
No.
Just right off the very south end there.
Yeah.
You want the mouse?
Far left corner where the bike path is.
So right where there is, kind of cutting across, and then kind of coming down like that or something like that. So obviously the tee box would be, which is probably the biggest tee box in the state lengthwise. So it'd be this general area.
Kelly, is there, what's down south of that green, is that anything that we're gonna use?
Expansion
Of this green?
From there going down, what's that gonna be?
Yeah, that will be more short course down the road.
There'll be some more.
Yep. Because he designed it with 3 holes to start with, but then overlaid others around the corner.
I think it's a great, I mean, personally, I think it's a great idea. I thought you were gonna put 3 holes right there, and then eventually work around the corner.
No, they'd start up here. There's been, obvious questions come up, is how do you control it? I mean, how do you monitor it? And I don't know the answer to that.
Jeff sits out there all day.
Yeah, to me, at first blush, just looking at this, I treat it like a accessible park, for lack of a better term, that anybody can come out and just use it. I mean, go play golf on this, 'cause like you do on the practice green now. You don't charge a fee for anybody to come out and chip a putt on our practice green. Just because of how far away it is from the clubhouse, to have somebody monitor it like that would be difficult. Now, we could put a camera there and keep an eye on, make sure nobody's digging things up and, that kind of stuff. But just a place to go out and practice golf. But, our range isn't free, but you're paying for the balls for that. But I don't know the answer to that. I've asked Jason, and checked with Brookings. Edgebrook has a little 9-hole short course. What kind of revenue do they bring in? What kind of expenses? Because they charge a fee to play those little 9 holes. And I'm like, I look at this more as planting the seed for future golfers, and then people that are out there would have, can use it to work on their game as well. I've played the one at the Prairie Club, and theirs is a lot more elaborate, and they're actually really nice little holes, but I don't think anything's longer than maybe 120 yards. And there's no tee boxes. You just pick a spot, drop a ball, and play. And if you want to drop 10 balls, you can hit 10 balls from this spot, whatever. And so you can play them from different angles, different directions, and somebody's on it, you just move to a different one or whatever.
You can drop 10 balls as long as you fix your ball marks.
Absolutely.
All right.
And your divots.
That one.
It's I'm just throwing it out there for discussion. We don't have to take any action on it until our next meeting, but I wanted to have some dialogue tonight about it. And then, the council's pretty much stayed the same. Well, it stayed the same. We got a new mayor, so I don't know what the philosophy is going to be on the new mayor as far as, projects like this, but I know activities and stuff like that was part of his agenda. And I look at this as a community outdoor activity project. And, I think it would benefit a lot of people. I really do.
Well, and to be honest with you, you have a short hole with that practice chipper out there. I go out there all the time.
Yep.
And it's about 65 yards, right? And we go out there and we hit 2 shag bags a night, right? And we go out there, I mean, that's pretty much a hole right there.
It's the Rhenish kids.
She's got some stuff to figure out.
You don't hit it high enough to make a ball mark. I don't know, what's your thoughts, Dan?
Needs to be done. I was wondering where to start your holes first, the houses and the range. The part that, on the driving range, you can probably see it on that, if you blow it up a little bit. Kevin added that because all of a sudden, Mark Warner and we're getting so many junior golfers. So they kind of, where the tee box goes down, it's just grass. And actually, I thought the grass should have been mowed on a 30-degree angle. Because you can get some junior high boys slicing the house. they're head drivers. I'll take a northwest wind on a cold March day, and, you know, and boys are probably involved. And then, so, I mean, that, all he did when I started mowing grass on, plugged in, put some sand on it, just so they could stay off the tee box. You know, you take junior high golf, you're probably looking at, I don't know, Eric, what are we, 50 maybe? High school girls, the Parkson comes over, or EJ comes up to use the range, you know.
The range is full. They're spring.
Can't get on the tee box, can't get on the green, you let them so many tee times, twice, 3 a week. Now Wesley's out there, now where's Wesley gonna practice? You know, next year, the year after, you know, what's gonna happen
Next
out
year,
there?
you'll probably get Alec over here playing because Wild Oats closed.
You know, so what do you do there?
How much of the range do you cut off? 20 yards, 30 yards of it from the end of the south end?
Well, you'd have to be enough to, so that the people using that short course would be safe. I mean, you'd have to look at that.
But one suggestion on that I thought of is to tie in with the practice. You could make, let's say, from wherever the short course starts back to the north, wedge only.
Yeah.
You know, short iron only, no drivers, no long irons, just, and have targets out there. We're gonna redo the range anyway.
Mhm.
So have targets appropriate that the south end of the range is irons only, because you could have people in that short course, and the rest is wide open. But
I was just gonna say, you can dictate what people are hitting based off of the targets that you put out there,
absolutely.
Yeah.
right? You can draw people away from that.
The Minneapolis, one thing they had, of course, they had a practice facility. It was a private course, but, you know, so you'd have 5 targets, you know, from, let's say, 75, 100, or 25. Then off the side, before you got there, the dragon range, the other side, then they have 2-tiered green with sand, so sand only practice greens. So we don't have that. They used to have the worst sand trap ever at the end of the tee box, Jeff remember. But Kevin filled it in to build this tee box bigger. So you don't want a practice green, you don't want a sand trap at your practice green. If somebody gets a flyer, you got an injury. You know, and, we don't have to practice sand. You gotta go out the course at some night, Jason's gone, whack, 5 balls, break it out quick.
Hey, he's got the sand trap fairly soft now. It used to be like hitting off concrete.
And in on this is turf stretch, or AstroTurf stretch, for spring and fall, and if wear is getting excessive, we can limit people to that. So that's part of this project, so.
I look at this area on that screen and I go, what a blessing to have that much property, and we're utilizing it for a driving range. And how much more we could get out of this practice-wise and to enhance the game by tweaking that. I think that's going to have far more reaching on future golf than our projects on the course itself. That's going to make the course nicer, but this is potentially the future of golf in Mitchell. And, you know, we get to start it. That's pretty cool. With a lot of help from the city council.
They, yeah. I mean, the worst thing to do is not put a budget. As far as the phase 3, me outside looking in, I think that's a way more beautiful phase than phase 2. Phase 2, your rear range, taking 12 out. I mean, you're building a new par 5, a pond for all the drain. The biggest thing of the pond is you can drain every pond and all that lower area into it. And then that'll go to Lake Mitchell. So you stop your water problems. Nobody remembers that because in 2019, you probably weren't here in 19, were you?
In July, yeah.
And so when we were really wet, remember?
Yep.
Water sitting all over, remember, in front of 16 when I was up there. Kevin put actually drains in 18, 16, and 15, you know. And we got ponds there. You know, when they built it, pretty easy to drain those picture, new 14, big beautiful green, new 5. That's just a no-brainer. I think that's going to just jump you up to the top of the state. I really like that part. And a practice facility, the more you get, just adds to your course. The more you can charge, the more people can play, the more they can practice. And what it does for college and junior golf, where you want to grow the game, they can actually go out and practice. Otherwise, they bang balls in the putt.
Wonder how many greens you get repaired, you go through the whole,
What's that?
how many debits will get repaired, or are you gonna end up with a green full of, look like the L-Star?
We had one in Dallas, I'll be point blank, they don't get repaired, she didn't get used to it. It's like the practice green. Kevin monitored the practice green too much. They're chipping, stop that. And they said, you know, Kevin took care of it so personally. I go, we mow out 20 feet for a chipping, Kevin. We're telling them, right there's the chipping area, we mow out for it. Nah, you know, it's just, it's tough on practice. The ball marks are gonna be there. They're not gonna get fixed. Because they're gonna hit 20 balls into it. And they'll fix two. It's so beat up. So, if you're looking to keep it like the course, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's realistic in a practice place like that, unless you turf it.
You don't have faith in me?
What's that?
I think it'd be a great addition.
And we're at the point where, you know, and that was my philosophy all along, is if golf keeps going like it was going a couple years ago when we made this initial request for phase 1 and 2, that we're going to be in a position to contribute towards this. And it's not going to be a just keep asking and asking. But we needed to build, and even a couple $100,000 is not going to kill our reserve. We're still going to have a couple $100,000, maybe even more, in case something major happens or we need to. But I don't know.
Buy a new ice machine.
Ice machine, yeah, exactly.
San Diego's $160,000. We gotta make sure we don't forget that.
But
You know, it was 180 at the time the card payment they were talking now, they had to subtract it off.
You can bring that up at your next meeting.
Kevin remembers it.
So we'll have probably harder dollars to work with at the next one as far as a recommendation goes. Again, that's only going to be our recommendation to put it in the budget to go to council. And actually, it'll be the mayor's decision whether it gets put in the budget or not. And so all we can do is make, just like the department heads do, they make the recommendations on what they want, and it's ultimately up to the administration to decide what goes in. Cover it, all right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Anything else on that? We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Next meeting is July